Single dad slept in his boss's bed during a storm, and she kept inching closer each hour. The storm arrived without warning, turning a bright afternoon into a sky filled with roaring thunder and blinding sheets of rain. The roads disappeared beneath rising water, trees bent under powerful winds, and every phone alert warned people to stay indoors. Miles away from home, single father Adrian Brooks had only one thought in his heart, his little daughter waiting for him. But destiny had different plans that day. By sunset, he found himself trapped inside the luxurious countryside home of his strict boss, Vivian Sterling, a woman known for her cold decisions, impossible standards, and walls built higher than any office tower. Neither of them imagined that one unforgettable night would quietly change both of their lives forever. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, forgiveness, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, leave a kind comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to our channel, Kindness Paradise. Your support helps us bring more heartwarming stories like this every week. Adrian had never expected the business meeting to end this way. He had driven nearly 3 hours to deliver important documents after another employee canceled at the last minute. Being a single father meant saying yes to every opportunity because every extra dollar helped provide a better life for his 8-year-old daughter, Hazel. Since losing his wife years earlier to illness, every sunrise had begun with packing school lunches, brushing tangled hair, and promising his daughter that no matter how hard life became, they would face it together. He rarely complained, even when exhaustion followed him like a shadow. Vivian Sterling admired dedication but never showed it. She believed emotions made leaders weak. Years of betrayal in business and painful personal losses had convinced her that trust only led to disappointment. Her employees respected her but feared her even more. Adrian was different. He always remained polite, calm, and dependable, even after impossible deadlines or unfair criticism. She noticed it, although she never admitted it. The meeting finished just as emergency officials announced that highways were closing because of flooding. Adrian rushed toward his old car, hoping to make it home before conditions worsened, but within minutes the engine stalled after driving through deep water. Rain hammered against the windshield while lightning split the darkening sky. Vivian happened to see him standing helplessly outside her estate gates. Without saying much, she insisted he return to the house because driving further would be dangerous. Adrian felt deeply uncomfortable accepting her offer. The mansion seemed too elegant for someone like him. Every polished floor, every expensive painting, every silent hallway reminded him how different their worlds were. He repeatedly apologized for being an inconvenience, but Vivian simply handed him a towel and pointed toward the guest room. Unfortunately, a burst pipe caused by the violent storm flooded that room only minutes later, soaking the carpet and damaging the ceiling. Every other bedroom was already being repaired after recent renovations. There was only one dry bedroom left. Vivian quietly told Adrian he could take one side of her oversized bed while she stayed on the other. She explained it with practical logic, insisting it was simply the safest arrangement until morning. Adrian hesitated longer than she expected, embarrassed and respectful, but eventually accepted because sleeping on the cold floor during a violent storm seemed unreasonable. Outside, thunder shook the windows every hour. Rain crashed endlessly against the glass while fierce winds made ancient trees groan through the night. Inside the bedroom, silence became louder than the storm itself. Adrian stayed as close to the edge of the bed as humanly possible, almost afraid to breathe. Vivian lay facing the opposite direction, pretending to sleep even though neither of them could close their eyes. As each hour passed, another flash of lightning illuminated the room. Every deafening crack of thunder reminded Vivian of childhood nights when storms terrified her after losing both parents in a tragic accident. She had hidden that fear from everyone for decades, believing vulnerability invited weakness. Yet this storm brought every memory rushing back. Without realizing it, she shifted slightly toward the center of the bed. An hour later another violent clap of thunder echoed through the house. Adrian noticed Vivian trembling ever so slightly. He understood fear because he had seen it in Hazel whenever nightmares woke her. He gently placed an extra blanket closer to Vivian without saying a word, careful not to invade her space. His quiet kindness spoke louder than any conversation could. The night continued. Another hour passed. Vivian moved just a little closer again. Not because of romance. Not because of attraction alone. But because for the first time in years she felt unexpectedly safe. She realized Adrian wasn't pretending to be kind in hopes of gaining favor at work. His compassion was simply part of who he was. Even while facing his own worries about Hazel, stranded miles away, he still noticed someone else's fear. Around midnight the electricity suddenly failed. Darkness swallowed the room except for brilliant flashes of lightning beyond the windows. Adrian immediately checked the emergency flashlight he always carried in his backpack. Years of parenting had taught him to prepare for everything. The small beam of light filled the room with quiet comfort. Vivian looked at him differently then. Not as an employee. Not as someone beneath her position. But as a father whose greatest strength came from ordinary acts of love. She asked about Hazel, and Adrian spoke with quiet pride about bedtime stories, school projects, and promises he hoped to keep. He admitted that raising a child alone was frightening, but giving up had never been an option because his daughter deserved someone who believed in her every single day. Listening in silence, Vivian realized she had spent years chasing success while slowly locking away her own ability to care deeply about others. Wealth had filled every room of her home except the loneliness inside it. Before sunrise the storm finally weakened. Sunlight slowly broke through retreating clouds, washing the soaked landscape with fresh hope. Fallen branches covered the driveway, but the danger had passed. Adrian thanked Vivian sincerely before preparing to leave, eager to reunite with Hazel. As he reached the front door, Vivian stopped him. Not to discuss work. Not to give another impossible assignment. Instead, she quietly offered him several paid days off so he could spend time with his daughter after such a frightening experience. She also announced that his consistent honesty, responsibility, and compassion deserved recognition far beyond his current position. Within weeks Adrian received a well-earned promotion that allowed him to provide a far more comfortable life for Hazel. Yet the greatest change happened inside Vivian herself. She began treating employees with patience instead of fear. She started listening before judging. Office morale transformed because one storm had reminded her that strength and kindness could exist together. Hazel eventually met Vivian during a company family picnic. Watching Adrian laugh with his daughter under a bright afternoon sky, Vivian understood something she had forgotten long ago. Success meant little if there was no one beside you to share it with. Genuine respect could never be demanded, it had to be earned through compassion. Months later, whenever storms rolled across the city, neither Adrian nor Vivian remembered the expensive mansion, the flooded roads, or even the terrifying thunder first. They remembered one quiet night when fear made room for kindness, and kindness opened two hearts that life had nearly closed forever. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with your family and friends, and subscribe to Kindness Paradise so more people can discover stories that remind us hope is never lost. Sparkle's special request: before this story ends, comment below with one word, kindness, if you believe even the smallest act of compassion can completely change someone's life. Sometimes the strongest shelters are not built from walls or roofs but from gentle hearts willing to make room for someone else during life's darkest storms. And sometimes, the greatest miracle is simply finding another person who reminds you that kindness still exists when you need it most.